The trick, it would seem, is innovation, and innovation in a fun and engaging manner that just gives and gives and doesn't get old throughout. Tiny and Big, Grandpa's Leftovers, has this level of innovation and not only capitalizes on it as the game progresses, but thrives on it. To pass judgment on this title without giving it a shot first would be an injustice to not only the great game being presented here, but also to yourself, the gamer, who deserves a little innovation in their games every once in a while. Now that I've got you all riled up, here's what you have to work with. You play as a boy named Tiny who is in pursuit of magic pants that belong to his assumed to be deceased grandfather. The magical pants have been stolen by a round fellow named Big, and the relationship between Tiny and Big isn't really addressed until the end of the game, so I won't spoil it for you here, but the important part is that Big has the pants, Tiny wants the pants, and there's a ton of obstacles in Tiny's way, which pose for interesting puzzles and great architecture throughout the game. Thankfully, Tiny doesn't have to overcome these obstacles during his journey alone. Tiny is accompanied by a little radio that he keeps strapped to his back, which will continually provide an awesome soundtrack to keep the game fresh, interesting, and increasingly charming. If you didn't already notice, Tiny and Big is a somewhat classic third-person platformer at its core, but what makes the game phenomenal is the twist it gives to those classic platforming tropes. There are all the traditional controls, like jumping on small rocks in order to jump onto taller ones, but what makes Tiny and Big stand out is the 3 unique tools it provides you with to get the platforming job done. The first is the grappling hook, which allows you to pull loose objects around to fit your platforming needs as necessary. The second is a little rocket that can be attached to objects in order to propel them in one direction or another. The third and final tool is the game changer here. It's the laser. This fantastic piece of equipment allows Tiny to cut through basically anything he can see in order to create blocks, lower bridges, destroy projectiles, and anything else that might stand in Tiny's way. This is what makes Tiny and Big shine. Aside from its amazing soundtrack, adorable and charming character design, great artistic style, and interesting level design, the laser tool really puts the bow on this successful indie puzzle platformer. Now, even though this cutting-edge concept has gathered quite a bit of praise from myself, and anyone else that I've spoken with that has played this game, you can only enjoy splicing concrete slabs for so long before it just becomes a bit repetitive. Thankfully, Tiny and Big is very gifted in another aspect of its design, which is being wonderfully self-aware. No single idea, setting, or situation overstays its welcome, and the entire game only runs for about 3 hours if enjoyed slowly. While shorter in length, you honestly get a fantastic amount of bang for your buck, and I'd highly recommend it to anyone who enjoys a fresh take on the platforming genre. Overall, Tiny and Big has style, grace, story, character, and is done with a finesse that pulls it all off in a satisfying manner. To say that with the utmost honesty about an indie title is not only impressive, but inspirational to any developer or independent startup, and shows that it is possible to take an old favorite and make it new and exciting. Tiny and Big sets a new bar for what's possible from a small indie developer, and I'm excited to see what they might have planned for the future. I'm Christopher Puner with Player Affinity. For everything gaming, comics, television, and movies, check out playeraffinity.com, and don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Twitter.